WiseTola. This is the Commissioners podcast. I'm DJ Gabe, SoundboyT.
And I'm WiseTola. And that is the Commissioners with a K.
With a cake? I wanted to say...
With a cake.
No, I wanted to do an echo of a K.
And it sounded like a cake.
K.
No.
With a cake.
Say that again.
K.
It sounded like a cake.
If you do an echo with a K, it sounds K.
Cake. Oh, well,
We don't like
no, that's what I'm going to say. Let's say I am an African man. K. No chance.
That's what I did about 6.
I wrote it down.
You also do like work. To be like a roll.
Kenny's. You don't have to say.
Cake.
So anyway, how's your week been?
Week has been great.
Another week chasing the bag.
I think it's been one of those very busy weeks for me, though. Busy weeks. I'm out every day. Weekday. School night.
Have you not been school night? I never knew you're a student. Or you're a teacher by
That's what they call it. When it's a weekday, it's a school night.
But if it doesn't apply to you, I mean, come on.
What doesn't apply to me, my brother? Yeah.
That you're going to
It might be a night school.
You're not a head teacher, you're not a student. So
He might go to night school.
What about if you've been a student before? Does this still apply?
well, I mean, you grow out of
Emeritus, as they call it.
Professor Emeritus. Well, you're a professor in other aspects, but yeah, you know.
So you're always a student. You're a student of I
Student of the game.
Exactly.
Student of the game.
You know where I was going.
But the game doesn't take us out of our beds at 9 a.m.
It does sometimes.
Oh, no, doesn't put us in a classroom at 9 a.m.
It does sometimes, you know. Look, you're a student of the game. So whenever the time is up or the time calls, you have to answer, bro.
Oh, yes.
And that could be 9 a.m. in a different country.
Thank you.
Yeah, 9 a.m. in one country is or 2 a.m. in another country.
Depends. If you're in Australia, it could be 12 hours.
So who controls this timing, though? That's one thing.
I think this man's about to go down. I'm a bit hot. And they're forgetting that we have a guest in our studio.
Yeah, we do. We do have.
Yeah, we can do a show on time next time. But we have a guest, don't we? We have a special guest. I mean, we always have special guests on the Commissioners, don't we? We might even turn into rappers because we keep rhyming, don't we?
Yeah, the rhyme pattern is incredible.
Just before you go and introduce our first guest,
What's Game gonna say now?
I need to let Teddy know because I don't think Teddy knows.
Teddy knows everything.
No,
I don't.
Did you know that Tola won a rap show on Choice FM many years ago with her son? Many years ago. So long ago that I don't even want to mention the year.
Yes, let's not mention them yet.
I find that's the interesting part. I find out something new every time.
It's a school night.
No,
It's a school night. You see, we are a student of the game.
No, but rap competition, that's different.
Am I lying?
No, he's not.
On that for a few minutes before we introduce our special guest, please, because I need to give it some context.
No, so what have you not done?
So Choice FM was just doing a competition, isn't it? So you enter your song. It was actually a gospel competition.
It was the gospel. Yeah.
So so me and my son, we put together a rap.
Ricky.
Yeah, and we sent it in.
How old was Ricky?
It was, but it was only Ricky though, because I had my cousins in it as well. But I write the raps anyway, so they were just like the part of the group. And so we sent the song in, and announced that we got a night.
Who was it?
I'm not too sure,
Not Kirk, Anthony.
I can't remember, to be honest. That's how long ago it was. But we won that week anyway.
Yeah.
Oh,
this was years ago.
What was the price?
No, so what it was on a weekly basis, from the entries they pick a winner, and then we now had to show up at a venue, all of us, and then they announced the overall winner, which was a female rapper. She was the overall winner of the competition. I can't remember what they sent us, but they did send us something though.
Those were the days when Choice FM was Choice FM.
Yeah.
Anyway, you know
it. Yeah, exactly. So T is mysterious. She's right.
But that was just for a hobby though. I was just rapping for a hobby. Because I used to listen to hip hop before all this Afro beats and
LL Cool J was the guy.
I was Eric B and Rakim were my favorite though. And Big Daddy Kane.
Oh yes. Oh, yeah. with a
yes.
What's it called?
We need to do a special hip hop show where we take it back.
Yes.
Because you see, between the three of us, our hip hop knowledge is immense. I'm not even going to talk about you, Sound T, because I know your love for hip hop knows no bounds. I mean, your T-shirt says it all. Wu-Tang for it, So we need to do a proper.
Whenever they were coming into, because I used to live in Brixton, so they used to do shows at the Brixton Academy. So that's where I went to go watch LL Cool J, Salt and Pepper, all of them. And when they come, I'm there because I just walked there from my house.
Yeah, those were the days,
My last show at Brixton Academy was Redman and Method Man. I've never been to any show in the UK that's finished at 5 a.m.
And that one finished at 5 a.m.?
Yes, it was
at the Brixton
Academy. Yes.
Oh, wow.
That's a few years ago. It's about 5 years ago.
No.
Oh no, I'm being honest. 5 years ago.
They were allowed to open till that late?
Yes, because it was a mature crowd.
Say that, yeah.
It was a grown crowd, Redman, Method Man. They came on stage at like 3 a.m. When we came out, I've got photos of.
What time did the show start?
It started like from 6. Doors open at 6.
Okay, that's it. We're doing a hip hop podcast.
Yeah.
Period. And we need to put a stamp on it. We're doing a hip hop podcast because this story, I don't want us to waste it.
And you know what I want to do with that? I want us to do it at an open place, where people can see us. We can take it
in front of an audience, studio audience.
Yes, we need more mics, bro.
Yeah, we have
good with that.
Yeah, we have.
All right.
No, we can have a rolling mic, so we'll do the talking and then they ask questions.
Straight now on the Base Radio.
Yes, definitely.
Internationally known, really. Let's not go. I might even freestyle as the spirit lead me.
In it, yes, we might have to.
Just give you a 1 2 1 2. Anyway, we digress.
1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2.
Special guest in the
very special.
Yes, we do.
It's so special. He's here twice.
Yes.
We won't tell you the backstory of why he's here twice.
Yes.
Just know that he's been here twice.
Yes.
When your guest is so nice, you have to bring them back twice.
Oh yeah, he's here right back.
So yes, we have a special guest in the building. He goes by the name of, he goes by so many names, but yes.
I'll be honest with you.
We are going to call him today. We can call him Michael, a.k.a. Mr. Silk, a.k.a. But we will call Michael. Now, Michael is one of the owners of the Silk Lagos. It's in Ikoyi. I've been there. Very nice place, isn't it, Gabe?
Awesome venue.
I'm telling you, love it. He is also, let's say, he's been an artist manager. He does A&R. What doesn't he do, Gabe? What doesn't he do?
I don't know. What doesn't he do? I don't know.
The only thing he needs to do now is set up his own label, isn't it?
What he doesn't snitch.
More or less. No. Should we call him Michael or I like this.
Let's call him Michael.
It's the one that comes. It's Michael, it's Olamide, it's Olaitan.
He's Gidigroove. Yes.
So let me just call him.
You call him I call him Giddy. What are you going to call him?
I call it the King of Silk. Very smooth.
It's nice to have you again. Welcome back.
Nice to be here again.
It's like you never left.
Always I'm happy to be here. I was telling someone that, these are the only people that would almost be able to drag me to a place like this in front of a mic and a camera.
Exactly. Because you're not one of those sort of people who wants to kind of grab mic. You like to manage people that like to grab mic.
Yes.
You rather let them do it than you do it.
But those are the more interesting people, though. Have you realized the people?
I think everybody's interested.
Yes, but they have the story because when you get the artists, they tell their story. But these ones can
all
the behind the scenes and all the.
I thought you meant the artists are the ones that interested.
No,
I was going to say
about the behind. Yes,
always listen. I would happily have a conversation with a producer, a manager, or somebody who's always.
Because they'll tell you the things that, the others won't, and what that is, yes. They give you the juicy bits.
The juicy bits. And I had Gordon Ramsay say, sorry, where there's no fat, there's no flavor. They give you the flavor.
And where there's no fat, repeat that part.
Where there's no fat, there's no flavor.
Oh, yeah.
For those
the fat holds
the aura.
Yes.
I think Gabe needs a cookery show.
Cooking, by the way.
Yeah, we gotta film that. We gotta film that.
Would you love?
Yes, of course.
Yeah, we could. We should actually.
Yeah, we'll do
A
that.
day in the life of one of the commissioners.
Yes.
Gabe will do cooking. What are you gonna do? Teddy will DJ. Teddy will DJ while we have a party. Yeah, Teddy could DJ while we have a
Give me a
party.
camera,
Thanks.
book a license, DJ. For somebody to shout from behind the mic.
Yes, at least they know what I'm good at. Yeah, which is good. You know what? When they can identify you,
I would love to see her do hair, because that's a talent you never. Did you know that?
Oh no, I know about the hair. Yeah, I know about the hair.
I thought I had one up.
No, because you got too many of them. But you know what? I'm just gonna say, welcome to London, my brother.
Thank
One
you
more
so
time,
much, man.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
You know,
Happy to
I call
be
him my brother, you know, because he's a brother of the house. He's the fourth chair of the commissioners.
Yes. So he's been here, to London. You have to visit him in Nigeria now.
Yes, I know. Yeah,
At Silk.
we talk about
At Silk, yes.
Silk.
But we all have been here apart from you.
Oh yes, but talk about Silk. You know, I love when they say the show improve. Right, the last time he was here, and let me just put a little disclaimer, because the file was corrupted. That's why that episode never came out. But the photos, everything is still there. You know, we're gonna put it.
We have
out.
evidence.
Yes, there's evidence. You know, the file is still there. I'll let you listen to it, so you know that we're not capping on that stuff. But one thing that was so significant is, I remember from our last conversation when he said to us that he's going back to Nigeria and he's opening a new joint that is still in is still in that building process. And he's here now. The Silk has been popping for how many months, my brother?
8+ now.
8 months now. Show improve. Word and execute.
And we've been there.
Stick to the plan. He has stuck to the plan. He has stuck to the promise. And he has given Lagos a place they call Silk. So soft, from your experience that you saw to me, that it is so soft a place that they enjoy themselves so much. I was so envious. But congratulations.
Thank you so much, bro. Thank you so much.
Congratulations.
Absolute lovely place, isn't it? I mean, I celebrated 15 years in the industry there in March.
A memorable event.
And I hadn't seen it, but Michael said I have to do my 15 years at his place. Even though somebody had gotten me another place, and so I now sent him the invite, and I said, I'm looking for a drink sponsor. He said, for what? And I sent him the invite, and he's like, you have to do this thing at my place. And I'm like, okay. So I said, but I have to tell my friend that got me somewhere in it. So I spoke to him. He was like, yeah, Michael's place is actually bigger and it will actually fit what you want to do.
Oh, so your anniversary was at his place?
Yes. So I hadn't seen it. But when I asked my friend now, I said to him, what does the place look like? He said, it's perfect. It's absolute. He said, it's perfect for you. He said, that place was designed just for you. And I thought, okay. But when I got there, it was perfect. I'm telling you, that place,
that.
No, but I think you told me it was nice because you told me you'd been there anyway. Yeah. So yeah, it was,
That's when the plan comes together.
Yeah.
But I wanna understand from Michael's perspective as well. I saw photos,
She's posted to this day. The event happened in March. She's still posted to.
I have to.
No, but
it's still exclusive to tomorrow.
That's one thing I always love about T is that when she's celebrating you or celebrating, she makes sure that it's detailed. It's not just one post. It's on multiple platforms. She's all out for people. So for her 15, for us to see what happened, and then I saw you in the cut as well. So I wanted to tell us from your perspective, what was it like having her come to Nigeria and celebrate such a milestone? Because she's not there, most of the time. But she has so much leverage and influence and people that she's impacted. So many people, whether she knows them personally or not. So for you, seeing that, apart from you giving the space, but you seeing that celebration happen, what was your perspective of the whole evening?
Wow. I mean, I think that the celebration itself was also something that was personal to me. I mean, like I said on that day, WiseTola is someone that I've called on multiple times and she's responded with ease multiple times over and over and over again. So first of all, being there was a must.
Yeah.
Experiencing that was a must.
No excuse.
And for me, having that done somewhere else, I wasn't gonna have it.
Absolutely.
I wasn't gonna have it. I was like, look, if this is the little that I can even put together towards this celebration, now please let me do something, because like I said, over and over and over again, she's been there. She's always been there, you know, and it was amazing to see other people, many other people who, some are ahead of me, some are still coming, have almost the same experience of this same woman, you know, the same testimony.
Consistent.
You know, there are people who in the game that I have looked up to and still look up to that are doing so many things that were there, you know, and it was just amazing to watch, you know, that she's not there, and how many people came out, you know, even like significantly something that I noticed again, the amount of upcoming artists that were there speaks to the kind of person that she is, that she's at this level that she is, and she's still that accessible to people who need help, because those are not people that are, do you get what I mean?
I agree.
And
that's one of her strong points.
And that in itself was just like, and that is why people would always happily show up and always celebrate her and always be there for her. So it was beautiful. It was amazing to watch. It was personal for me as well.
Yeah.
I didn't like to get in front of the camera and the mic, but I have to.
Yeah, I saw the photos. By a round of applause for what
Thank you. Thank you.
Listen, it's you know, when people do stuff for self-gain, it's different, you know, but when you do it selflessly and, like you said, you know, upcoming artists, not many people have the opportunity to speak to ID Kapasa. But through your platform, they're able to assess him, and then ask questions, and it's incredible. You know, it's something that maybe if he's so close to you, you take it like it's something that okay, that's what WiseTola. But it is a huge thing. You know, I'm sure those are the producers, like someone like ID. If he should show his DMs, you see the number of like upcoming artists who want to just get that access to him, and you make that available and for free. You know, but one thing I was so proud of is the fact that you took it home. You took
because that's where it started. Really, it actually started.
I know. Remember that story? So that night, did she have a drink? No way. She's never had. I'm just trying to understand. Did she never have a drink?
You couldn't tell though, because her energy was up the whole night.
I did. You know, I actually had my drink at the end of the night, but because I made sure on the menu there was mocktails, because sometimes, you know, when you go for listenings and that, you know, all the menu is alcohol, and I keep saying, is there nothing for the people that don't drink alcohol? And you know, so I made sure mine, because obviously I knew me, obviously a couple of clothes that I was going with, we don't drink, so I wanted to make sure that there was something. And then I had the mocktail that was non-alcoholic, because I don't drink, guys.
So let's take it back to the very beginning of your journey.
Yes. Because there was life with Michael. What do you call him?
I don't.
Before Seal. Yes.
Because I want to call you Michael. I want to call you Prince. I want to call you Olamide. I want to call you Olaitan. I want to call you Gidigroove. Let me let him in on the group chat. Okay. Because I was calling you Olamide, and I thought I was referring to somebody else. Like,
we were like,
please let's do this. Let's settle once and for all.
Yes.
Oh yeah, talk to us.
To be fair, if you really want to take it back,
let's take it back.
You take it to Michael.
Michael, that's it.
So Michael is my English name, and that's what I was raised, and that's what I grew up people calling me Michael.
Okay.
Olamide is my traditional name.
Okay.
Olaitan is my last name.
Oh, right.
Gidigroove is my business name.
Right.
Right.
Prince. What about Prince?
This is a title. I think I need to take that off my Instagram. So
why?
I don't think it's another name.
Right. Okay. I'm liking this. We're going somewhere. Okay.
So yes, a lot of people who know me as Olamide have known me in the recent, I would say from my corporate life. I would say from MTech, which is like,
what's MTech?
MTech is a tech company that I worked with. As speaking about my journey.
Yes, of course.
So from MTech, a lot of people from my corporate life know me as Olamide.
Okay.
People who know me as Michael have known me from childhood, or have known me through someone who's known me from childhood.
Okay.
People who call me Gidigroove don't actually know my name.
Wow.
But the brand is thankfully what it is. So
And that's something you are grateful for.
I mean, yes, that's something that I'm very grateful for, because I've always wanted to be someone who can live my life, but let my products really be doing their thing. You know, so when I hear Gidigroove, as much as I sometimes don't like that it brings attention to me, I'm grateful for what it's doing and what it's done, and what it's still gonna do. You know, so yes, those are the. Prince is the title. I'm from a royal lineage in my little hometown in Agoiwe. So there's that.
Agoiwe was the. Please, sorry, bear with me. Agoiwe was the home of Ray Power.
I have no idea.
When Ray Power first started.
Agoiwe is in Ogun State. So
Yes.
Really?
Yes. Okay. When Ray Power started back in the day.
Ray Power?
Ray Power.
Radio station.
Are we going to go down that route?
No, but you need to.
Yeah, okay. Let me give you guys a bit of a context, because the reason why I said what I said, because at the time Ghana was going through their radio licensing,
Yes.
Nigeria was experiencing the same thing. So when you look at the genesis,
Like 94,
90s, the 90s. So when you look at the growth of Afrobeats, you cannot mention the growth of Afrobeats without looking at the radio licensing period at the time.
Absolutely.
So Ray Power was one of the pioneers of the radio station who got their licensing, who was able to just not only play music of other countries, but play homegrown talent back then.
What did they do?
In what sense?
Like, did they push their local agenda?
Yeah, they pushed. Well, they played foreign music, but they also had licensing. That's the difference. Because before that, radio stations were national government based, government owned.
Yes.
Like, you know, and the same thing that was happening in Ghana was happening in Nigeria. So the growth of Afrobeat at the time was so they had like a studio, because I remember the reason why I remember Agoiwe, because when they mention Ray Power, they always talk about life in Agoiwe. I was like, oh, this is interesting.
I didn't know.
Back in 1995, that's why I don't have.
Because that's where Osu is, the now Olabisi Onabanjo University. That used to be Ogun State University.
Okay.
So it's in my hometown.
Oh, interesting.
So that's where the title Prince comes from.
Oh, wow.
The title.
So it's not a small title. If it's Agoiwe, it's not a small title.
So do we need to be prostrating and
No, not at all. No,
Lay down, like, you know, what is it?
But doesn't it happen like each house, you're part of a royal house?
Yes.
Isn't that how it works? So
it's actually interesting, because these are new lessons for me that I'm getting to know as well.
Okay.
Yes, so there's 3 royal families, 3 major royal
Exactly,
families in my hometown that are entitled to
the titles. Yeah.
And then my family is
One of them. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
So, Prince, I'm sure anybody listening,
calling it Prince.
of course, yes.
It's a title, not a name.
On that title, now so why you're current.
Prince Michael or Prince Olamide.
Yes, but I mean, he was on that subject, so that's why.
Okay, we forgive you. We forgive you.
Man of many names, a man of
His Royal Highness.
Yeah, his royal.
But hold on, before you ask me,
Let's say it properly.
what name would you prefer?
So I think either Michael or Olamide is fine. I respond to both of them.
All right.
So okay, then.
Let me,
And what if we want to say Prince Michael?
Coming from here, I'll answer you. Like, if I'm walking on the road and someone says Prince Michael, I know that you may be trying to call me, but you don't know.
Okay.
So
All right, Mike.
I can't keep walking.
All right, Michael. Yeah, I'm sure our listeners would want to know who you are, what you do.
Yes. Wow.
Your many titles, your coat of many
I
colours.
guess it does make sense with the amount of things that I kind of have dabbled into and still do. Wow. At the moment, like you rightly said, I work in the music and entertainment space. I guess to summarize it all, hospitality, music, entertainment, a bit of talent discovery, A&Ring, a bit of brands and partnerships in the music space.
Right.
Nightlife now, obviously. Venturing into more hospitality and tourism. I've managed a couple of artists in my days, Dami Crane, Vector, Shady, Jimmy Jet.
Shady, yeah.
Still look after a couple of DJs, Paranormal DJ, Lats the DJ who used to be resident at Stoke Mayfair.
Oh yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, stop. So you're in Nigeria most of the time and managing someone here in the UK.
Yes, she's back in Nigeria at the moment anyway. But yes, at the time, yes.
But how were you managing that dynamic?
Because I am not her personal manager, I think I did that long enough to know that I can't do that.
Right.
You know, so I handle the business, I oversee the brand, we handle the negotiations and the directions and the major plugins.
Yeah.
She has her daily setup. She doesn't, I'm in London now, she's in Nigeria. She has her day to day.
Yeah.
We just make sure that everything is what it should be, financially, you know. So if 40 minutes, I won't talk about myself, but
No, this is
also
right. This is about you today. We're not only just celebrating you, but we also want the world to understand some of the bits and pieces that has built such a magnificent, career. Because I'm not going to pretend like, I haven't had a conversation before. We've lost our path.
Absolutely.
So I know some of the stuff that you've done, some of the incredible personalities that you've worked with. And, one thing that stood out for me the last time was when we talked about Jimmy Jet. Legendary status. Before social media, I knew who Jimmy Jet was.
Yeah.
And growing up in Ghana, and I knew who Jimmy Jet was. So that is incredible. And last time we spoke about how you ended up being
Remember that conversation?
Let's revisit that for a second.
Yeah, I remember that conversation.
Yeah, it's very important that for somebody who is very calculated, from what I see, Jimmy is not going to just chunk his craft or his being into somebody's hands that is not well seasoned or not primed for it. One thing I read this week that I found very, very helpful is that when you're recruiting or when you're looking out for maybe talent to support whatever endeavor that you're in, it's not always the go-to, like the people that fits the bill. Sometimes you can meet somebody who's got a very bad odor, very bad, body odor, but you can see the it's like diamond in the rough. You can meet somebody who's just got the enthusiasm, like the work that you're doing is a waitress. They come to you, the way and manner in which they ask you, even if they're being paid like £5 a month, I say £5 an hour, their enthusiasm exceeds, that. So as a recruiter, you're looking at people like that. You're looking at people that have the enthusiasm. I want to revisit that conversation.
Well, how
you and Jimmy Jet.
Okay, I think I was speaking to WiseTola about this earlier today.
Again?
Yeah, when we were waiting, because Michael came early.
Yeah, I came before everybody.
We were
for the first time.
I was the first person there. And then she came a few minutes.
Rub it in.
Yeah. And I will say how the rest of the people came.
In there. Rub it in. I keep it here, right? We know what the last person was anyway. Let's just leave it at that.
Yeah, we know who the last person was.
Yeah. And I was the last person at the previous appointment, so I had to make it up.
Yeah.
Well done, by the way.
Yeah, thank you.
We'll give you your flowers later.
Take it. I'll take it. So yeah, at the time actually I was managing a guy called Vector the Viper. Very stubborn, very intelligent rapper. We had gotten into some sort of a situation with the label at the time.
Oh, I remember that.
Yeah.
I went to court.
Yeah.
Sorry.
And he got an injunction against him actually. So they came hard on him. He couldn't release music. He couldn't perform. He couldn't do nothing. So we're actually not making money. We're just trying to even get out and be free, right? So it was a really tough time. I was back and forth in school, and I'll come to Lagos to pattern a few things.
Yeah.
We got the remix. I went back to Uncle Jimmy. Uncle Jimmy was looking at me like, this stubborn boy. Collects the remix, drops it. We're like, Uncle Jimmy, want to show a video. He's looking at me like, okay. So Vector has this friend called XYZ who was a director.
XYZ, yeah.
So XYZ volunteered as well to shoot the video. Uncle Jimmy contributed what he needed to contribute to the video success. That came out as well. And then before the video came out, actually, we were meant to go to Clarence's studio where XYZ was working to see the final cut before he sent it. So Uncle Jimmy was going to drive to the mainland to come see the video. So I was staying in my start house in Anthony, and he said he would pick me up on his way from the island. So he stopped by, picked me up, and we're in the car driving. And at this time, obviously, Vector's career was at a dead end. We weren't doing much. Money wasn't coming in. So even me, family, everybody's looking at me like, okay, I mean, it's good that you're staying with this guy, but where is your money going to start coming from?
Sure.
You know, so I'm thinking in my head, obviously I'm interacting with Uncle Jimmy almost every other day at this point. How can I approach this guy? What am I going to say to him? Like you rightly said, you've known him since, so I'm not responsible for that. Jimmy Jazz has been Jimmy Jazz before I knew what I was doing.
Yeah.
You know, so I'm like, what can I possibly say to this kind of person, you know, to become his manager, you know? So we're taking a drive, and then we went to XYZ's place, watched the video, we made the edits, and on our way back, he was going to drop me off. And then we were talking, and he was like, you know what, I'm actually looking for someone to sort of like, I have a lot of things in my head I want to do, you know, and I just need someone who can be on ground, can brainstorm with me, can organize certain things for me, can make a few moves on my behalf, and blah, blah, blah. And I'm looking at him like, okay,
That could be me.
of course, that can be, of course. But then I'm also thinking like, there's bigger players in the game, you know, and so he actually just said it, you know, so many people have come to me, he mentioned the biggest managers in the game, and he was like, that's not what he's looking for. He's not looking for someone who's going to be playing high-level politics and just adding him to a roster to make that thing look good. He needs someone who's hungry, who wants to work.
Gotcha, yeah.
You know, he needs someone who, when he says run, is until I'm out of breath, you know, kind of thing. And I'm like, oh, man, that's the energy I have right now. Unfortunately, this ship that I'm in is really not moving much. I want to do so much, but it's not moving.
Right.
You know, and long story short, Uncle Jimmy's like, you know what? If you think, obviously, at this time, I'm sure he must have paid attention to all the intention, all the energy I was putting to keep Vector's thing alive. So he must have seen that, yeah, this guy is a good guy. This guy is committed to whatever he's doing. If situations were better, they would definitely be doing much. So there's something here, like he said, you know. So I wasn't checking for that, but knowing Uncle Jimmy as well, I'm sure he must have been looking at, you know. So we had that conversation, and I was like, wow, when do we start? And he's like, I'm not dropping you off. We're going to Lekki like this.
Wow.
You know, and that's how I drove with him to Lekki. Went to his house. He had his office at the back. And we just started dumping ideas. You know, we started speaking
away.
Literally, he would tell me, I was thinking A, and before he says B, I've gotten to Z, and he's looking at me like, so obviously I had also thought of like so many things on his behalf. Like, okay, if I get the chance, what am I going to put in front of this guy? You know, and fortunately, he had a lot of things in mind that were very aligned. So when we started speaking, he was just looking at me like, so at this point, he was just thinking, let me just take a chance before that conversation. So when we're speaking, he's like, okay, we might as well, since we're speaking the same language, try something, let me see. Right? And that was leading up to the biggest celebration, his 25th anniversary. We were working on an album titled The Industry. We did a 10-city tour. He dropped a book. We did a black tie dinner.
Yeah.
You know, so there was a lot of corporate conversations, interacting with sponsors, getting the venue, going on tour. There was a lot of things for him to do at the time. And I just had time, you know, and I had this energy. And the only other thing that was taking my time wasn't really taking much time anymore because we were just going to court.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, so I had time to really like get things done. And in that 1 year, a lot really did happen. You know, I met a lot of people, you know, and Uncle Jimmy was really fundamental to a lot of things that happened to my growth in the music industry eventually, you know, because I remember even my family, I remember there was a day Uncle Jimmy met my mom, and as a typical Yoruba man, the courtesy he gave, even me, I was embarrassed. You know, I was just like, Jesus, you know, but then my family was like, if Uncle Jimmy will come to them like this, then this boy is doing something, just go out and do whatever it is you're doing, you know. And I remember conversations where people will call Uncle Jimmy and they say, oh, I spoke to your PA, and Uncle Jimmy was like, no, that's my manager, you know, and that's very that definitely, whether I want to think about it or not, those things
make
definitely
a difference.
a huge difference.
Yeah.
I was walking into certain doors with a different name on my table, you know, and it was a name that everybody wanted to relate to. We're talking to government, we're talking to corporates, we're talking to all kinds of brands at the time. Jimmy Jat is universal, everybody relates with him, you know, so that definitely played a huge role in everything I was doing. He was aware that I was in school. He was very encouraging of it. He showed up on my graduation.
Wow.
You know, so yeah, Uncle Jimmy, since that day, was pretty much like a father to me, you know. And we would sit down, we would gist about hours, unrelated, nothing, just random catching up.
Yeah. How much of that has defined you today?
Wow, I think that having the kind of access that I have to Uncle Jimmy definitely played a huge role in both the music and even personally. I saw a lot of things through his eyes. Uncle Jimmy is a very relaxed person. Not a lot of things stress him. Actually, almost nothing stresses him. You know, or maybe at least that's how it seems. You know, and I would go to him with like whatever the challenges are, even personal issues like family or work or anything, and Uncle Jimmy would have the calmest and smartest and simplest things to say.
Right.
He was always there. And watching how he would also navigate certain situations, right? We'll be in certain places and certain things will happen, and I would naturally have a different reaction or a separate expectation, and Uncle Jimmy is just like,
Chill it off.
and then maybe when we're driving home, I'm asking him like, how far? And that conversation is a lesson. Whatever he says to me as his response as to how he handled that situation, I'm just like, wow, I definitely grew wiser working with him. Is even speaking about it now, I'm just thinking about it. Like, so many situations, so many disappointments, so many obstacles that we faced together, and how he would like interfere in the situation and manage the situation, and the outcome of the situation afterwards, I'll just be like, right. You know, so
there was something that Michael said in that story, because, you know, like he said that he was thinking of how he could work with, but then he's thinking, but there's a lot of big people that... Well, that's exactly how I felt when Michael called me and said,
But do you remember how you guys met?
Who?
The Jimmy Jats, Michael and everything.
How? Tell us.
Do I have to tell you?
Yes, tell us.
I don't have to.
Import.
No. So basically, this is how it happened. So Michael rang me when he did his book launch, and he said, Jimmy's coming to London. Jimmy Jack, sorry. When he did his book launch, he said, Jimmy's coming to London. He needs some folks to kind of manage his affairs. Do you remember that conversation?
100%.
And I was like, I can't do it, but I know someone. I know the lady who's really efficient. She's very networking. I'll give you her number. That's how I gave White. Do you remember that, though, T?
But yeah, and you know the thing is, I said the same thing to him. There's loads of people that can do it, and I was thinking people like you, you know, like, because obviously he's a DJ, and I'm thinking, there's loads of DJs that know Jimmy Jack that could take that role.
You were good. I believed in what you
but capabilities. Also, I think what was important as well, and I think this also just speaks about personalities and whatnot.
Yeah.
I also probably know so many people in the UK, right?
Yeah.
But knowing Uncle Jimmy, knowing his person, knowing how he moves, knowing how he likes to move, just knowing the kind of person that he is, if I'm not there, I want to be sure the kind of person that he's going to be with.
Yeah.
Which is why I reached out to you, which is why when you recommended somebody, I took, do you know what I mean?
Right.
And I've been hearing about her. So it made so much sense.
Okay.
So when you introduced me to her, I spoke
Everything
to her,
aligned.
and then she was just so warm and welcoming.
She goes out of her way. She does.
No.
She would do more than
Well, you know what I said to him? I said to him, I said, I'm sure there's people that he would want to do that, because I'm thinking there's a whole load of Nigerian DJs, and you all know Jimmy. So I said,
I would have still put my sense in, but I needed that. I needed you to be that forefront. I would have still given you my backing, but I needed that full.
because I just thought to myself, like, there's DJs that can do this.
Yeah,
That he would probably, because I was thinking there's DJs that he would probably want to do this because he knows the DJ. So then I said to Mike, I said, you know what? Give him my number. If he calls me, no problem. Because then I'm thinking, if he calls me, that's it. Because, you know, like, I was just thinking, maybe it's just something that you guys are saying, but does this person now want it? If he calls me, then I'll do it.
It makes a huge difference, you know, when the person, like the reference person, actually calls you.
Yeah, and he called, didn't he?
Because I had a similar situation with like Victor.
Vector, yeah, when you were
Victor asked me to come DJ.
different, isn't
Yes.
it?
It's different.
It's
Yeah,
different from me asking you that. Can you play at Vector's?
yeah. It's not
Yeah, when
wait.
they call, yeah. Because when he called, I was like, whoa.
Yeah,
And yeah,
drop everything and you just say, yeah, let's.
that was it. I was the chauffeur for that. There was a
and
time.
everything.
There was a time we were going to the West End, and I said to him, I said, you know, we can't drive in the West End because there's no parking there, basically. So we're going to jump on a train. So we went to park, and then we were walking to the station. Can you imagine? This guy stopped his car in the middle of the road. Him and the wife got out, and they came to me. They said, "Can you take our picture with?" And then they were telling him. They said he did. They watched his celebration that he did, his 25-year celebration. They watched it. So I was now the photographer taking pictures in the middle of the road.
He's one of the African greats in terms of DJ. I mean, not. I've never seen him play. I don't know much about his skill, but it's his name. The weight of his game, you know. But you know, sometimes when you get opportunities like that, you know, your exuberance can really mess things up. You know, the exuberance of.
In what sense? So what do you mean by that?
Like, you know, the excitement of working with somebody who's...
Well, I mean, that is fair, but I think that knowing where I was coming from,
But the point I'm trying to make before I don't let me let you...
Yeah, give some
understand.
context.
Yes, yeah. That it tells a lot about who you are as well, right? As an individual. And that's why I want to get into, you know, the mind of you at the time, or even, you know, being able to manage that situation. Because if you give that to how many youngsters, you're guaranteed that people are going to just get easily drowned by the limelight, by the flash, by the glamour and stuff. You know, very easy. But you know, you've gone on to just build not just you, but you've built a lot of individuals. You've built businesses. You've built like nightlife, like you're saying, and now you qualify yourself as somebody who's not just a lifestyle person, but also music. You've played us an exclusive sound that nobody probably has heard. You know, it takes a lot to live up to that expectation. So I want to get deep down into your fabric. You know, what was it that shaped the way you think and the way you approach stuff, you know?
a lot of things. I would say my upbringing, my childhood, my realities, not all of them are at the time were beautiful things. I guess I was just able to make the most of what I had.
Right.
I was also very able to remember where I was coming from and also remember where I don't want to go back to.
Gotcha.
I had a lot of also growing up. I had a lot of elderly people who were very concerned about me as a kid because I grew up in a very African, traditionally confusing, chaotic background.
Right.
But I was fortunate to have a few Egbons who were also a lot of them actually, in fact, when I was a kid, most of the adults that were very concerned and invested in me being sane as a child were pastors.
Right.
So I also got a lot of guidance.
Right.
So from a young age, I knew that if I got a chance, I didn't have the luxury to mess around with it. I knew that whatever it is I found myself doing, I wasn't even sure what it was going to be. But I knew that the day I find that thing, I can't look back. So it started when I started throwing parties in secondary school.
Was that when the name Gidigroove, or did that happen after? Slightly after?
Gidigroove was birthed in my first year in university.
Okay.
But we started throwing parties in secondary school. I used to share party flyers in church on the Sunday.
Party flyers in church?
Because that's where my social circle really originated from. So I took advantage of that space, regardless of what the space was called, a church.
Yeah, true.
And then when I got into university, we really just started throwing parties. And then eventually we moved into like media coverage for events, and we did media coverage for an event called Echo that Asa and some other guys back in the day did. They brought Fabulous to Nigeria. And we were the exclusive media partners at the time because Gidigroove was popping on campuses. And it was at that event that I actually met Dami Crane. And he was like, oh my God, he's been hearing about Gidigroove. I should pattern him and look after him.
Was he in university then? Or?
Yes, he was in Redeemers University. I was in Babcock University. So he was already kind of like making a wave on campus. Mm-hmm. And then we were already doing our social community thing on campus as well. Okay, yeah, so I remember this event called Echo. It was at Oriental Hotel at the time. It was a fashion music event organized by Asa and a couple of people. We were the...
Asa?
Yes, Asa Sika.
Oh, yeah, Davido's manager.
Yeah,
okay.
So Gidigroove was like a digital media partner. I think there was Silverbird as well.
Okay.
And then Dami Crane performed, Davido performed, Nato C performed. I think Soskid as well performed.
This was like early...
This was 2009, if I remember.
Wow, that's long.
Yeah, they brought Fabulous. It was a big thing. 2009, and that was when Dami had approached us as well to say, look, he's been hearing about Gidigroove and that he wanted to sort of like be shielded by us and whatnot. So I spoke to him, and then he started managing Dami Crane, and we're popping in Babcock University. He was popping in Redeemers University. Very quickly, he spiraled around private universities. Dami didn't have one song on radio or one video on TV, but on every campus students' phones, you'll find like 7 Dami Crane songs. He was a proper university star. Like, he was blown at the time on campus. So worked that career for a bit, going the Hypertech digital deal, and then we stopped working. It was just before we stopped working that Vector had actually reached out to say, who's this Dami Crane kid that is raving that he wants to work with him.
At the time, were you working with Vector?
No, I was working with Dami Crane.
So was that before you worked with Vector?
Yes, that's how I actually...
So Dami Crane came before...
Yes, Dami Crane came before Vector.
Okay.
So I was managing Dami, and Vector had reached out to Dami to say, let's work. So Dami got really excited, said to me, look, Vector has reached out to him, So Vector said, what, I'll have you guys come over. He was staying in Festac at the time. So we went to Festac.
He was also in university then?
Dami?
No, Vector.
No, Vector was done with me. He had his label. Vector was player at the time. He was already a big deal. He had dropped his first album. Yeah, I think he had Nice. He had a couple. Yeah. He had Two Face.
That Nice song is T's favorite.
He was already a thing at the time.
He's doing his thing.
Yeah, he was already gone. So he wanted to work with Dami just because Dami was popping on cameras. And Vector is that kind of guy, So we went to Festac to meet him. We got in the studio. They recorded. Vector was like, you know what? You're not going home tonight. Stay around. Let's work some more. And Vector and I started speaking outside because he was just very curious as to how this boy without a label, without any of those things, was causing this much havoc. So he started speaking with me, and then we were talking. So Vector and I sort of like built a relationship on that. We're guys. So he would randomly hit me up to check up on me. We'll talk, we'll banter. He would say he wants to do this thing. I'll put in my 2 cents, And then one day he called me randomly to check up on me, and I was just not in the best of moods. And I was like, what's going on? I'm like, me and Dami are not working together anymore. I mean, blah, blah, blah. And he was like, so why are you upset? You know, that could actually be a good thing. You know, I'm like, what do you mean? He's like, I have a manager, but he's very label facing. I would like somebody who is a bit more on my side, sort of like think with me as well. And I like the way you think. One thing led to another. We spoke, and I started working. So I said to him, look, at that time, I'd used like my first 2 years of uni to really hustle down my career. So even school was slacking.
Wow.
Yeah. So when I sacrificed, when I started talking to Gertrude, the first thing I said to him is like, dude, I'm in school now. I'm not going to tamper with my school for anybody at this point in my life again. Like, you know, you would take what I can give you. I'll make sure that when there's stuff to do, I'll come. He had his own house. So there was a spare room where I could always just come and be for the weekend. I mean, I was always in Lagos for the weekend anyway.
Right.
So I just had another option of where to be.
Right.
And we were being productive while at it. Vector was a celebrity. Anywhere we go, they know us. They were even calling us brothers for a while, you know. So that happened. And then, so I started using all the resources I had as well to sort of like push Vector in the campus community because it was very mainstream. But like, we're doing a lot of work on the campus communities. He came to Babcock to do a show.
What's the advantage of that, the campus community?
Wow, I think that everything spreads from there.
Yeah.
Truly.
Organic.
Everything spreads from there. That's where the real energy and the momentum is. They're not the guys with
Totally.
the buying power with the endorsements, but they also direct where the people with the money go to.
Yep. Okay.
You know, so if you don't have those guys, there's only so much you can keep going.
Yep.
You know, because as people grow and their age, their responsibilities, their interest in being diehard fans reduces. This guy, I've seen a babe cry, almost lose her breath because of Vector when we're on tour. Like I've seen crazy things because of artists, you know. So yeah, so that happened, and then Vector and I started working. He was very cool with my being in school. It was also an advantage to him as well. He did a couple of campus events based off of that, you know, and then we worked, and then the label situation happened, I think a year into it. And then that just put like a hard stop on everything for like another year before the whole survival situation that led to meeting Uncle Jimmy, you know. So for me, it's always sort of just been like, I would like to say grace because everything that has sort of almost ended as a disappointment in hindsight has pointed me to the next thing, right? Because if I didn't do what I did with Dami Crane and Dami Crane, Vector didn't see that.
Sure.
And didn't even work with Dami Crane.
Sure.
Vector and I probably wouldn't have connected.
Gotcha.
If Vector didn't hit the roadblock that he did and we were really trying to find a survival way, by all means, I wouldn't have met
point.
Yeah.
Good point. Yeah.
you know. So
Yeah.
at the end of the day, my life in itself has been teaching me to just put my best into everything that I do. I'll watch the next thing just show up, and that's really just how it's been happening.
Yeah.
Interesting, the building where Silk is, I used to be a promoter there on a Friday night. It used to be called Cocoon.
Oh.
And yes, myself and a gentleman called Tinya were promoting Friday nights at Cocoon.
Wow. Tore the building down now. Yeah.
And I had a whole totally different plan with a bunch of totally different people.
Right.
People in a different place.
Right.
And none of that worked out. I found 2 locations. One, the first landlord didn't agree. The second one, they paid for it before I found it. And then Cocoon was already shut down. And I just thought to myself,
Yeah.
I had a very good relationship with these guys. Let's just have a conversation. And one conversation, they were just like, oh, we're thinking XYZ as well. The partnership came in very, very easy. As nature would have it once again, Spanky is their guy. And they'd been doing business with Spanky for years.
Right.
And my investors were like, look, if you're going to take this risk and we're going to back you with this, there's somebody we're already having a similar conversation with. You guys might as well put yourselves in one place. Backstory to me and Spanky. So Spanky used to be a hype man, still is, but not as everywhere anymore.
Yes.
He's a club owner and a big man now. You know, so when we're doing the VIP nights at 57 back in the day as Gidigroove, Sparky used to be one of the side men.
Yeah.
And Sparky would come and he would show out. Like, he would come on time, he would do his bits, he would bring customers. He was one of them ones that worked on him like he was part of us, you know.
Also, you knew him.
I've known him way years, right? And
In a different capacity.
in totally different capacity. And so his manager at the time, Yemi, was my neighbor.
Oh.
We were living in the same estate. Yemi's terrace was next to mine. So when Sparky comes to say hello to them, Yemi, after a minute, he'll just stop into my house. I had a studio in my house. We'll catch up. And every time Sparky would be like, look, I want you to join my team. Like, I need you to join my team. I want us to work together. And I'll always be like, bro, I ride with you, Yemi. Your energy is pure. But like, either my hands are full, my head is full. I don't want to sell you a dream.
Of course.
We are going to work. I don't know in what capacity, but just somehow. But let's just keep,
naturally.
yeah, let's just keep this our looking out for each other, natural thing going on. And how many years after? So when Basil said Spanky, I just laughed.
Because you remember the conversation.
I was just like, this is never somebody I'm going to worry about being my business partner.
Because you know, you've seen all the,
You know, and then when they told him to Gidigroove, he was just like, funny. You know, so when we came together, now we're working together, we're making money together. He probably saw it then. I did. I was just like, you know what? I know we'll do something.
Mm-hmm.
We could have started working then and we could have fallen out.
Yeah.
Have you had that conversation, like that reflection?
Every day. And it's just another thing for me, reminder that like life would always take its course. I've learned to be patient with myself. I've learned to just focus on what I'm doing and do the most I can with it. And it has always just led me to the next thing. You know,
But
so
talk about that.
yeah.
You've mentioned very significant names, you know, Dami Crane, Vector.
Yeah.
You've managed in the past, you know, and having spent some time with Vector, he was on the port, you know, and chopped it up. I can really hear those words, you know, when one door is closed, like that philosophical thing, you know. And then now you are in a position where you are seeing both artists in their own lane, you know, doing what they do. Dami Crane has been in the trending for some time. You know, he's
For the right reasons or for the wrong reasons?
he's calling out everybody. You know, I don't know who's going on. Yeah, he's calling out everybody.
Okay.
If you go on the on
Internet.
Twitter, yeah,
Twitter,
yeah,
yeah,
go on Twitter. Yeah, I know you don't like Twitter. He doesn't like Twitter. I don't like Twitter. X is called now, yes, but we're still stuck in the same base.
I know.
But you know, when you're seeing some of these things play out, what I wanted to know is that what was it that caused you to fall apart? Yeah, and then particularly to put you in a position where you were so down for Vector to come in with that kind of, like, when one door is closed, another is open.
So I think that at the time it was just split interests.
Okay.
So for a very long time, I was literally Dami's only and the only voice in his ear for at least 2 years.
Right.
Right. And we were doing what we could do with that. And then when he got the deal, obviously Labour had interest. They wanted to assign him a manager. Dami was also young. And
This was when David O's come signed him.
no, David would never sign that.
This happened years later.
Let's track him.
Yeah. So the time what year was?
This is like 2010.
Right. Okay. So David O and whatever happened years after.
And you know, David even moved back to Nigeria after this time around. That I'm talking about.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
You
It's good to just
Yeah.
let's put it in
Some
perspective.
context. Yeah, some historical context.
So Dami got this deal with Hypertech Digital, which was a merger and investment between Two Faces Hypertech and a digital company called Spinlet, I think, at the time. I'm not sure.
I remember Spinlet.
Yeah. So
That's a name. That's a blast from the past.
they were ahead of the time.
Yeah, they were doing a lot of digital stuff.
Yeah, so they're probably the first to bring like actual digital streaming into Nigeria. But the market wasn't ready for them.
They were very avant-garde.
Yeah. You know, so they did that merger. Obviously, Spinlet had their So Dami Crane was like a golden egg for both Hypertech and Spinlet at the time. Spinlet had their own interests of who they wanted to be responsible for Dami. I think maybe Hypertech also had theirs. Dami also wasn't strong enough to maybe insist that I could still be a part of the picture. It's not, to be honest, in hindsight, all of those things were just meant to happen.
Gotcha.
You know, so that happened, and obviously I couldn't fit into the space anymore because there were just many interests, and I don't fight.
Yeah,
so
you're not that kind of guy. You're a lover, not a fighter.
So when I saw that it was becoming now multiple opinions, and even after that happened, I also sat back and watched. Management for Dami changed like 4 times in like a year. So there was a lot of, so I probably wasn't the only one who got affected. There was a lot of trying and
changing.
Yeah, you know, so it was just too much for me, and I was like, you know what?
Yeah,
I need to face the next thing.
So a couple of things happened that I always want to ask you for your view, and I think it's unfair for me. I know you personally. I could have spoken to you privately, but I'll ask you publicly.
Okay.
So there was a time Vector had this situation with MI, and your name was called in there.
Yeah.
And, you know, Teddy also mentioned, you know, the whole Dami Crane situation. And now and the fact that you've been able to kind of be present in both those situations. When you look back, especially talking about Dami Crane in particular, when you look back on the Dami Crane situation that's happening and you relate it to yours, well, what is your view? Do you feel like, this could have been dealt differently, this could have been better? Well, what are your thoughts?
On the situation at the time?
No, the current situation that Dami Crane finds himself in, that because you've dealt with him before, you know his personality, you know what he's about.
So,
and the fact that you have been able to do that. You know?
To be honest with you, when I stopped working with Dami, our personal bond wasn't as much
stronger.
We would see every time, and it's always good love when we see. Dami's birthday is a day before my birthday.
Right.
So we used to do this back-to-back day into day birthday celebration for years. So whenever we see, it's all love.
Right.
But at some point, I was quick to understand that he's a man of his own, and he would make his own choices, and I don't need to take those judgments.
Absolutely.
Right. So at the point that I realized that, I left him, and everybody make your choices, right? Definitely everybody can do certain things better. But I also, he's been through a lot of many things, you know, and I don't know how he's doing currently personally, so I can't really speak for what space he's in.
Of course.
Because you don't know him. I don't know if, genuinely, I don't know if he's behind his phone having a laugh.
Of course, or having fun.
Do you know what I mean? I don't know if he's behind his phone bantering and having a good time, or is actually dealing with something. Maybe I should definitely check up on him. But I don't think Dami is, I don't know. I think he's having fun. He's doing what he wants to do. He's staying relevant the way he knows how to.
Like, yeah.
I don't know how much of a team he has or who his team is.
Gotcha.
So he's doing what he can. The boy has been through a lot as well. He's been to prison. He's been back.
No way.
Yeah, he had a situation in the States a while ago.
Okay, I remember that.
He's young as well. I mean, so he's been through a lot.
For you to say young, that means he's...
I mean,
I don't mean that. I mean that in the nicest way. For you, a young man, to say someone is young,
I mean, I would be easily 5 years ahead of that.
Wow.
Easily, I think. I should be probably. Yeah. So I mean, he's a man.
Okay.
But he's still young.
Gotcha.
And we all take different things from our absolutes and our language. So I don't judge the next man.
Of course not.
I think that there's certain things that he could handle differently, but then maybe
like you said, he's been through a lot. Yeah, like you said, he's been through a lot. So sometimes you never know how these things kind of transpire, right?
Yeah.
You know, so for the last question I was going to ask before we move on is like, you know, because again, you've worked with Vector. And as you probably know, Vector had a situation with MI, which has since been resolved. But for you, exactly. So you were in a firing. Like, what was that like for you?
If you know Vector, you would know that Vector is not a what's the word to use?
He doesn't take it lying down.
Doesn't back down.
Yeah, he's not
back down
he's not the most diplomatic person. Vector will tell you how he thinks it is, right? And at the time, in an industry where everyone is just trying to save face and keep it cool,
Absolutely.
it wasn't popular, right? Vector will tell you, I don't like you. And it's not for you to take it personal. It's just for you to know I respect that boundary. But we're in an industry or a community, even Nigeria, I guess in general, where respect, people like me, relationships are very
important.
Yeah, and Vector is like, if we naturally have that bond, then great. But like, I'm not going to go out of my way to create it.
Of course.
And that's his person.
Right.
Right? So when I understood that was who he was, I understood why he wasn't cool with a lot of people.
Right.
And some people would take that personal to convert it to beef. But then when that happens, he's like, okay. If that's what your reaction to me,
And if that's your interpretation,
if I'm saying let's put a boundary, that's all I've said. Let's put a boundary. We can see and not necessarily
agree.
Hug. Yeah, let's keep the boundary. And you've take that to going into poetry. I'll tell you that myself I Sabi. So that was Vector. So it was fun also on our end. It was fun because 90% of the fights, he came out on top lyrically. So it was fun to enter the studio and know that you're going to finish them. You know, you were
So how did how did they get together to drop a track together?
There you go.
Yeah.
So a lot of things happened with that. And not to give credit to brands, but I would say Hennessy also played a role in that.
Right.
So I was on both sides because my personal relationship with Vector has always been good.
And is it still good?
Yeah, 100%. I'll be there tomorrow. Don't worry. You see.
Just in case. Just in case.
And you missed him on Sunday because he was there.
He didn't miss him. They met up after.
No, I'm saying you guys missed him.
Yeah, because we spoke to him. Oh, yeah.
I spoke to him.
We left here. We left before you.
Yeah. Damn UK train system. Anyway,
I thought.
It's when I have him.
Yo, listen to me. Okay.
I saw you in London.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I just joined Warner at the time as an A&R, and Warner had done this partnership with Chocolate City. So by proximity, me being in Lagos, I was working closely with Chocolate City. And prior to that, I was on the other side, right? So when I joined Chocolate City, this is a job for me. So it's not my business to be playing preferences, you know. So I was just happy to be there and do my job. We had just called CK's Love on Tintin. Energy was up.
Yes, everything. Things were top. Was that your first project?
That was actually the first release. While I was in Warner.
Yeah.
That was the first project that I also was personally invested in. The remix project was an idea that I brought to life with the help of the team as well.
Yes. Oh, that's why you go Kwame Eugene.
Yes. So that happened, and then MI had done his birthday, and I'd done this record, and then we had done this birthday party for him at CCX, and he saw me briefly and was like, "Oh, welcome to the team." He did mention casually that I gave you a shout. He said something, but he didn't give context.
Oh, wow.
He said something about, "Oh, I mentioned you, or you'd," like I gave you, Shisha said something, but like it was in passing. There was no context. I was like, okay, happy birthday. And I kept it moving.
Yeah, simple.
I wake up in the morning, my phone is blowing up.
What were they saying?
My Twitter is blowing up, my WhatsApp is blowing up.
Those who know you though,
yeah.
What were they saying?
So Emma had taken jabs at Vector, saying something about your guy. We empower people basically. So we've taken your guy and now we've made him a boss type of thing. And I remember that morning I was on my way to my dad's remembrance. So when I heard the record, I forwarded the link to Vector and I called him immediately. And I was like, bro, like,
What's going on?
first of all, I hope you know, like, you have nothing to do with this. And Vector was like, I know you well enough to know this has nothing with, like, this is what it is. This is what it is. Go and battle your father, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And he hung up and it was good energy. Vector and I have a company together.
Yeah, because you guys were promoters for Life's a Beat.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You know, so I think that there was a lot of people, because we didn't publicize ownership of
Relationship, yeah.
That business was just growing.
Absolutely.
And so there are a lot of people who thought that because I had started working with Chucklicity,
Everything else
jumped ship.
Yeah, switch sides.
Yeah,
the same.
And you can see it still
and I'm not sure that even M was sure that we were that close.
Yeah, because he didn't understand the other business aspects.
Yeah. You know, so when the record came out, I was upset. Really? I was upset. You know, it was like,
why were you upset? Because did you feel like it was gonna tarnish your relationship that you built up for years?
I felt like if Vector and I were not as close as we
could be misconstrued.
Could have burnt that relationship, or should have done something to that relationship. You know, Vector is also somebody who, if he didn't trust me well enough to know that that's not something I'll do, that's something that will make him shut off a person.
Of course.
You know,
and it's easily done though.
Yeah.
Because of the business we're in.
You know, so I remember when that happened, I'd called my boss at Warner to be like, look, I came here to do my job. I'm not here for this. I'm not trying to be famous. I don't care for this name dropping. Just free me. You know, so she's like, it's not that deep, speak to M. You know, and fortunately, we're going on a retreat to Ghana at the time. And I love what you say. We're in a work retreat. And then myself and M were we're all on the same flight. So when we get off the plane,
I remember this.
The boss that was taking us to the hotel, Emmy sat right next to me. So I've been looking for him after the song dropped. You know, I've been looking for him, but he doesn't come into the office.
So what did you say to him?
So I'm just like,
bro, what's going on?
Yeah, because like, you saw me the day before it dropped.
But he said something you didn't register for you.
That's just not telling.
As far as he's concerned, he's done his bit.
That was the plan.
Yeah.
You know, so I spoke to him, and in all fairness, he was just like, bruh, it wasn't at all like that, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, and he apologized. You know, and Emma and I are still cool, having cool. And I was like, look, at the end of the day, I'm here now to work for you, officially, professionally, on paper. Like, I'm a staff that is paid to work for you. So I don't need to be blindsided. I'm on your team.
Exactly.
If you want to do something, talk to me. We'll pattern it together.
Yeah.
Now, this is not even that is a personal relationship. This is mandatory.
Yes, yeah.
You know, so, and he respected that as well. And
did you understand it?
100%. 100%. And like I said, man to man, this was me and him alone. You know, and he was like, yeah, he understands how I feel. That wasn't the plan. He apologized. And we've been working, we worked up until I left.
I like Emma.
He's a cool guy.
I really do. So what's your status now? You no longer work with the label, so you still working?
Yeah, I still work with the label as a consultant.
Yeah.
There's a lot of things I'm not allowed to speak about.
Yep.
But then,
we're gonna get a music. Tease it out of his head.
Yeah, I'm gonna get it out.
I'm gonna get it on his hard drive though.
Exciting times ahead. Shout out to Warner Music Africa, and I want us to do that.
But where do you stand? You know, as somebody who's we're gonna be running up soon. I want to pick your brain on this. Where do you stand? You know, where the space of the music is. You know, commercially doing very well. You know, but how much is that really trickling to artists? How much is that really trickling to, if we say Afrobeats or whatever African music genre that we talk about? Where do we really stand? Is it really profitable to us? Is it that we needed this to happen for our good, or is it just a rip-off situation? I mean, a rip-off situation. I know it's going to be a bit of, a bit of a tight situation, where you have ties or labels and stuff. But where do you see us in this picture of where everything is blossoming?
I think it's all relative to different situations. I know of people who are in situations that work really well for them. I know of people who are in situations that they wish to never go into. I think that one thing that we don't speak much of is knowledge, information. I think that we did not create this business, so we have to also learn a lot about it.
Absolutely.
We have the source, just like Nigeria has natural resources. Arts and music is another resource that we
Absolutely.
have. And not just the white people, even your next man would exploit it if you let him.
Yes.
So you need to arm yourself with enough information to protect what you have. I think that you were speaking about Ray Power in Agoeweye back in the day, and we're speaking about where we are now. Regardless of the downs and the negatives of it, we have to count the wins and the success of it. This is a huge milestone. I mean, Bernard just did 80K.
I was at the show.
Yeah,
I was at the show.
and I was saying to my friend that if you look into that stadium, Nigerians were the minority in that stadium.
Absolutely. Global. Global, baby.
Minority.
He went on to Glastonbury.
Yeah, man. I think that I would always count where we are as a win. There's certain things that we were dreaming of.
Yeah.
That are now, people don't even care about it anymore. People are declining Grammys. People are walking away from big award shows. People are not attending certain places. Like, these are places where
Information,
they ask them,
validation.
they ask them 15 years ago, they enter night bus to go there.
Information and
So
awareness.
that's not where it costs us. So we've definitely
Broken down barriers.
We've not even more than needle. We've moved it from when them Two-Face started trying to break the doors to when them the band kicked it down to when everybody's done their bit. Even the guys coming in from the back now, they are your master, are doing their thing.
Right.
Everybody's doing what they can do,
Right.
and it's a collective effort. So we always have to just look out for one another as a unit and just try and make sure that as many people win as possible.
But one thing that Afrobeat is really propelled on this, right?
Yeah.
So when you hear or see artists say, I'm no longer an Afrobeat artist, from your perspective, what does that say to you?
I think those are personal choices.
Absolutely.
And once again, you can't judge a man for his personal choice.
Absolutely.
If I don't want to be called Michael, if you call me Michael, I have every reason to be upset.
Absolutely.
So if I've told you don't call me Michael, then please don't call me Michael. That doesn't mean every other Michael in the world is not Michael.
Absolutely.
And I like that answer to
Well answered. Yeah, well answered.
Yeah, I think that's a good place to wrap it. Right there, isn't it, Gabe? If Gabe don't want to be called Gabe, that's it. Who are we to argue? Big G's.
I like that. It's been a pleasure, Ted. I said Ted. I was going to call you.
Please don't call me Ted. That's not one of my names.
I've got a library of names for you, but I cannot call Ted. It's not it. It's not it. But it's been a pleasure. Absolutely. Thank you for coming back again.
Thank you for having me again.
And for us to say you're the only guest who's come back twice.
Yeah, man.
That's it. So we might need to make you a permanent fixture now.
I don't mind. I could tell you something that we can talk about that I said I would do that. I'll come on.
Let's go. Let's go. Let's give us one today.
Yes. Come on.
Was give us silk the last time?
Yeah, so actually what Gidigroove is going into now is, like I said, a bit more of hospitality and tourism. So what I and a couple of people have been doing over the years is, so when you come to Lagos, you have a good time. You're patterned across places. You don't walk through the queues. Experience the convenience.
Absolutely.
We've been doing that for artists. We've been doing that for friends. I had a lot of friends that moved out of the country. So when they come back and they're lost, I pattern all these things for them.
For real.
I just did this thing with Bloomberg TV as well last year.
Okay.
That's on YouTube and it's blowing. So what we're really doing now is selling like experiences. So for people who want to come to Lagos for whatever reason, from visa on arrival to airport pickups to your choice of hotel or apartments, car, driver, SUV. You want to go to a restaurant, you want to go to a club, you want to go to the beach, you want to go to the market, you want to go, literally whatever it is that you want to do in Lagos, we have the house to make it easy and seamless for you. So what stresses people about Lagos is the chaos and the, you know, so
The king of
we are
silk
there,
speaking.
and we have all of these relationships anyway. So converting it into a service and a platform whereby you can just log on to something, say, I'm going to be here for X, Y, Z dates. This is how much I'm looking to spend. These are the things that I'm interested in. We put everything together for you. You come, you walk in and out of everywhere like you're me in Lagos.
And that's VIP status.
Exactly.
So
You know.
we've got another thing to look out for. You know?
Yeah.
I've got two things now.
Yeah. So I put myself
When I come down to Lagos, I know exactly.
That one, you're not even a customer. When you come back, mandatory. Stakeholder.
Yes, sir.
Celebrity Teddy.
Celebrity. I would love that. But you know, Prince, as again, you know, so many names that we can call you, Michael. Bro, what's
Not with the symbol.
you know with a symbol, but you know, he's still the king of the silk. Yeah,
Yes.
but we appreciate you joining us. Thank you so much. Appreciate
This is
you.
home for me.
This is the Commissioners.
And this
and we
episode is going to go out.
Otherwise, I'm not coming
That's
again.
Yes, no,
So the last one, one option, you know, you know, listen, you're a man of faith, right? You know, certain things when it happens, you just let it go.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah, it's meant to be.
facts. Just let it go. Facts. Well, we're in a better position now.
yes.
We're actually recording video-wise.
Yes.
Last time you came, we didn't have a...
A lot has changed since last time I came. Even from the door, I'm like,
Yeah, you know, elevation, attention to detail. You know what I mean? You came into the building, you saw the reception area. You know,
Yes.
it's very clean out here, and you know, we make sure that everybody is safe and enjoy their conversation on the Commissioners podcast.
Yes.
Absolute pleasure. Where can I find you, my brother?
on Instagram. Oh my God.
Prince.
Okay,
Right.
you know, he said Prince himself. You have to change that name.
I'm going to.
Why?
Because it's confusing.
Why is it confusing?
I'll be honest, I'm slightly confused.
Yeah.
I don't know how to...
There's just many names. Yeah. And because I get this a lot. People who now know me just from seeing my Instagram just pull up on me and say, "Hey, Prince." But yeah. So yeah, I don't do socials like that. I'm on Instagram. I play a bit on Snapchat. I'm on LinkedIn. Actually, that's where you should find me. Olamide Olaitan.
Yes.
That's my professional page.
We want to see them. It's incredible. Go on their LinkedIn.
Yeah.
Nobody lies on LinkedIn. Nobody lies.
My Instagram is like the whole post. So, but yeah, man, Prince Olaitan on Instagram and Olamide Olaitan on LinkedIn.
Yes, sir.
So yeah,
Yes, please.
Yes, sir.
That's the Commissioners.
with the K.
And it's a rap. Yes. He's one of us. That's not.
He knows. Well,
He
absolute
did
pleasure.
the echo though.
Peace.
You did the K echo. Okay.